Friends, welcome to part 3 of our video presentation on Chapter 9. In this part of our video presentation, we will talk about the definition phase under the SDLC custom software development methodology. Now, the definition phase consists of the following two steps or sub-steps: doing the feasibility analysis and also requirements definition. Now, to be honest with you, I don't like how this stage is explained in your textbook. Personally, I would add one step to the definition phase, the one that comes before feasibility analysis. And that would be business problem definition, because before you do any feasibility analysis, meaning you're trying to determine whether an information solution would be appropriate, and definitely before you do any requirements definition, requirements analysis, meaning you start analyzing what users expect from the information system that you're proposing, you need to have a very clear definition of the business problem or opportunity or threat that you're trying to address with an information system. But nevertheless, I will stick with the kind of layout that is proposed in your textbook. So we will talk about the definitions phase that consists of feasibility analysis and requirements definition. Now let's talk about feasibility analysis, the first step under the definition phase. Now there are three types of feasibility analysis that you may do. Technical feasibility, in other words, you will analyze whether a particular information system is possible from a technical perspective. Operational feasibility, meaning whether your information system will work from the operational side, meaning it can be well aligned with existing or proposed business processes. And also from the economic side, here we're talking about cost considerations. How much the system will cost? Is this system feasible or possible? Giving the kind of budget that we have. So we'll talk about each of those analysis in a bit more detail. Okay, technical feasibility. Now it's primarily the responsibility of IS analysts, meaning technical specialists who work for the IT department. The reason it's largely a technical job is because it's in order to see whether a particular system is feasible from a technical standpoint, you need to have knowledge of current and emerging technical solutions. You need to have you need to rely on specific niche expertise of IT personnel working for the IT department. And also you need to take into account infrastructural needs. In other words, can our existing IT infrastructure support this new or old technology or not? So basically it requires deep technical knowledge. An example of technical feasibility, or should I say non-feasibility, is that example of ERP implementation at Natural Springs. So basically, they quickly figure out that the system that the CFO was initially proposing, the ERP system that came from Sun Systems, was not feasible due to absence of reliable connection between the headquarters in St. Petersburg and the factory in Krivagda. So they just couldn't connect the two systems in real sight. So that was an example of somebody doing technical feasibility and determining that a particular technology behind an information system solution is simply not possible. Now, the second type of feasibility studies, they fall into that operational side. Primarily, it's the responsibility of business managers, meaning non-technical employees. So basically, it entails assessing the degree to which a proposed system addresses the business issues that give rise to the idea for a new information system. In other words, will that system work from the business side or operational side? Again, using the Natural Springs case, it looks like very early on they saw that the system that the CFO was proposing, that Western system manufactured or sold by Sun Systems, I believe that was the name of the vendor, it wasn't feasible from the operational standpoint, because the accounting clerks at the factory, they had to rely on Russian accounting standards when preparing their reports. And as the case says, the fact that the CFO was responsible for generating international accounting reports or financial reports in accordance with the international accounting standards was not their concern. So basically they said, look, the system will do nothing for us. We need to implement that Russian ERP package 1C in order to support our operations, right? So the system wasn't possible from the operational side. And then you have economic feasibility. So basically, economic feasibility means business managers and IS analysts, meaning IT employees, they work together to prepare a cost-benefit analysis. I mean, they need each other expertise because a business manager may know better about, the business side of things, how much things will cost, whether a finance department will approve it or not. And an IT specialist can explain to a business manager better what kind of technologies they will be dealing with, so that the business manager is in a better position to come up with a reliable cost estimate. Like one thing that an IS analyst can explain to a business manager is the cost for the overall development project, the kind of phases that will have to go through, how much labor will be, how much IT labor, technical labor will be required, and so forth. So this is economic feasibility stage. Now, in the Natural Springs case, nothing was said about economic feasibility. Apparently, they had enough money to implement the system, to fund implementation of the system. Now, one of the typical deliverables or documents that come as a result of the feasibility analysis is a short 10-20 page document that has like an executive overview of a business problem and some preliminary high-level recommendations. Also, high-level description of what system would do and how it would operate, analysis of cost benefits, and rough development plan. So this is like a concept paper that outlines this, some general ideas in relation to an information system. So that's the typical deliverable of the feasibility analysis. Now, requirements definition. This is the most important phase under SDLC framework, and this is where it's recommended that IT project managers spend most time. So what is requirements definition? Well, first of all, I would like to explain that the essence of this concept. Basically, those are requirements by from end users in relation to an information system. So basically, it goes something like this: if we are to address a particular organizational problem, what is required from the system? In other words, what kind of functions, what kind of capabilities the system needs to have. So this is captured through requirements. Now, one important thing to remember here is that requirements should be on the business side of things. In other words, business users should be asked about business requirements and not about technical requirements. In other words, technology is not dealt with at this particular stage. In other words, we put business considerations first. We try to find out from end users what are the functions, what are the things that they require from the business standpoint, not from the technical standpoint. So you don't ask users at this stage, I don't know, what kind of interface you prefer to use. Do you prefer to interact with the system through a mobile phone or laptop? Because that's not the goal of the stage. The goal of the stage is to formulate, capture business requirements. So that's why the focus here is on processes, data, how the data flows, how data is related or interrelated, rather than any specific implementation. So how do you gather requirements? Well, there are a lot of methodologies that are used for gathering requirements, but at the most basic level it can be interviews, just interviewing individuals or interviewing individuals in groups and simply asking them, what are the things that you require, what are the things that you need from an information system. Maybe prior to arranging those interviews, because they take a lot of time, they're costly because you're basically using up time of a lot of individuals within an organization, you may do some kind of secondary research where you review existing documents to come up with a preliminary list of requirements. In fact, I think it's better to start with this, because sometimes if you just face a group of users or individual users and you start saying, well, what do you need? I mean, it may take a lot of time for them to kind of pick up the speed and start analyzing the situation. I think it's much better to present them with something with a list of requirements that you already have. So it will be like a much better starting point for them, and they will say, oh, you forgot this, you need to add this requirement, or you need to remove this, or you need to explain this. So it will be just much faster that way. Or sometimes you can just observe employees. You can see what they do, and based on your observations, you can come up with ideas for requirements, meaning the things that the system needs to do in order to simplify or improve jobs of the individuals that you're observing. One important deliverable from this stage is requirements definition document. So basically, some of the things that this document may include is detailed descriptions of inputs and outputs and processes used to convert input data to outputs. maybe some formal diagrams and output layouts. Also, as a result of this stage, you may revise your cost-benefit analysis that you did in the previous step. Maybe you can also revise the plan, meaning implementation plan for the remainder of the project. So requirements definition document, I would say it's an important legal document, because at that stage you're basically saying this is what we will do with this project. In other words, those are the goals of our project. We want to make sure that the system does A, B, and C. So that's why it needs to be approved by business managers. I would even say it needs to be approved by whoever is the sponsor of this project, because this is the point that outlines the scope, the duration, and the cost of the project. So that's why it needs to be signed off, but I would say by all important stakeholders. Okay, so this concludes part 3 of our video presentation that deals with the definition phase of the SDLC methodology. Thank you for listening.